This is my friend Kirsten, and we are in the brand new, first time ever Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. So we've been driving around through British Columbia. We started in Vancouver this morning, and now we're in Whistler. You're going to see some of the snow that is surrounding us. And the great thing about this car in a climate like this is it has a snow mode. So it's all-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive, but it has some good capability. Modes are you can choose through clicking the dial to snow or sport or off-road. But you can also click the button, and if you see these icons here, you can click the button to get the mode that you want, normal, sport, or you can customize your drive modes too. My favorite thing right now is the heated seat.
Yes.
And the heated steering wheel. So tell me what you think of this car after driving it and spending the day in it.
I really love it, especially for landscapes like this. I'm a photographer and also do some writing just like Scotty does. And, you know, I always think about when I'm in the car, how can I experience the landscapes around me even though I'm in the car? And, you know, with the panoramic sunroof and how expansive the windows are, I mean, look at this sunroof over us.
It feels pretty bright in here, even though Whistler's basically fogged in right now. In fact, we were going to go up on the mountain, and it's too foggy to see anything.
No visibility.
But it feels pretty bright in here, which is a nice surprise.
Yeah.
What did you think of the back seat? You spent a little time in the back seat today.
I did spend some time in the back seat, and I have to say, if you've got kids, if you've got company riding with you, you know,
or a big dog.
Or a big dog, but that's my dream. There's so much space back there, and Scotty can speak more to how that compares to other VW models, but it feels huge. And then we should mention the trunk in this model.
Yeah, the trunk is huge. The trunk is really, really big. So
huge.
One of the cool things about the Cross Sport is it's essentially the Atlas without a third row. So if you need the third row, get the Atlas. But if you want the full-size SUV without the third row and you'd rather have cargo space, this one's a little more aerodynamic. It's got a little bit sexier back end than the Atlas. and it's got more passenger legroom in the second row, which they're able to carve out by not having the third row. So you're right, the cargo space is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if you still have family members, there's tons of space. But, you know, if you're like me, where you don't need that third row for people, but you need that space for other things, there's so much space in that back row and in the trunk. So, you know, you still have a lot of space. It's just used in a different way and displayed in a different way.
Yeah. Well, if you carry a lot of stuff like me, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you've been a Volkswagen driver much of your life, and you consider yourself a little bit of a fangirl.
Yeah, I am.
Tell me what it is about Volkswagen that makes you happy.
Well, I was brought home from the hospital in a Volkswagen, you know, a Beetle convertible, a bright orange with the black roof. And that was my mother's car when she gave birth to me. And, you know, she was very proud of that car. She loved that car. And that was very much a conversation as I was growing up. And then I had a Volkswagen. And
what Volkswagen did you have?
Now, I had a Jetta station wagon, which I was a wedding photographer. So I could throw all my mic stands and my light stands and my tripods in the back with my whole trunks of, you know, gear, and there was plenty of space. And then, you know, if some bridesmaids needed to hop in with me as we went from the church to the venue, you know, there was always tons of room, and yet it felt cute and sporty when I was in my 20s, so it had the luggage capacity, but it still didn't feel like a huge mommy van or something. You know, I felt like it fit my lifestyle while still having the capabilities that you need. And so it's just VW
wagon versus SUV.
Well, now that I'm not in my 20s.
Adult?
We'll just say that. Now that I'm an adult.
Now that you're adulting.
Yeah. Now I want the height. So these vehicles are so great because you have that height. And, you know, when I was younger, the station wagon was nice because you had the room, but you were lower to the ground. And I think it's personal preference.
Well, tell me, what were some of the technology? There's a lot of technology in the Cross Sport. What were some of the technology things that you liked about this car?
Well, you know, everybody's into can the car park itself these days, and let's just
This one
say that the Volkswagen is very competitive in that sense.
It's so funny. I feel like it's going to hit that car, but I know it's not. And look, it recognized the difference between the crosswalk and the parking spot. Boom. Did you try the adaptive cruise system?
I did, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Set it and forget it, and it adjusts the speed for traffic ahead of you. We didn't really have much
Yes,
traffic.
we did not, but
it's good to have.
yeah.
And then did you try the Apple CarPlay?
I did not personally, but you know, one of my favorite things has always been about VW that Apple CarPlay is so quick to set up once you get in the car, put your phone in, and I feel like it starts up a lot quicker than other maybe car models.
Yeah, there's no, you don't have to choose any selections on the infotainment screen. It's just there, which is pretty great.
Sets up itself. Yeah.
And so the pricing on this car, what did you think of the pricing on the Cross Sport? So it starts in about $30,000 and goes to about $50,000, which is a big stretch.
So, you know, you've got a lot of options there. So that 30 to 50, there's so many things that you can add to the car. There's so many ways you can personalize it for you. And we are in the model.
Yes, we're going to look at
So
the Monroney. So, because there's a lot that you can add here. So this car, the one that we're in as it's equipped, is $51,445. So that's a pretty pricey car. But it's also, this is the premium edition R line, which has more design features, more design details, things like leather panels, the Fender sound system.
Yeah, if you like your good sound in a car, that, you know, the fact that you get in and the Fender system is just there, and we tested it out with, you know, a variety of different artists and different music genres, and it just sounds beautiful. It makes the car like your own personal concert.
I think your car needs to be your haven. That's kind of how I feel. So I'm a big fan of a premium sound system. It also has heated rear seats, which I thought was pretty amazing. It has a household plug, 2 USB ports in the back. It's got 2 USB ports right down here, plus one of those old-fashioned 12 volts. I don't know who uses those anymore. I don't really know what they're for, but it's there if you need it. This also has, let's see, some of the other details, and they don't list out. Sometimes they'll break out, you know, individual prices for these things, and they didn't do that here. So I think the trim. You choose the trim, or you choose the edition that you want based on the features. So you can't really price out a lot of different details. But the R trim premium comes with a 3.6 liter V6 engine. So this is the larger engine. 16 miles to the gallon in the city, 22 on the highway. So not the most fuel efficient, but lots of power. It has all-wheel drive. So one of the things that I like is this dial, and it allows you to choose your different drive modes. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
And today, I mean, we've experienced basically 3 different kinds of weather in one day.
We have.
And so we have a drive mode to use for every type of weather we've experienced.
So one of the other things that they've added to this, and they've added it in all of the trim levels, either as a standard feature or as an option, are driver assistance safety features, advanced safety features. So, for instance, it has, let's see, anti-slip with engine brake assist. So if the car feels the wheels slipping, it will dial down the power on the brake, on the engine, and it will shift power to the wheels that are slipping so that you're not slipping. It has electronic stability control, intelligent crash response system, and automatic post-collision braking system. So if you are in a crash and you might take your foot off the brake, what the system will do is it will continue to slow the car after you've had this crash, which I think is a pretty amazing thing. I know that's something that Volkswagen has worked on. So another thing that they have is rear view camera system, tire pressure monitor. Then they talked also about pre-crash mitigation, so forward-looking cameras that make sure that if a crash is imminent, that it slows the car. Lane departure assist, high beam assist, so set it and forget it, high beam headlights, you just put them on high beam, and when if a pedestrian in their car or something is visible, it dials down the power of the lights, which is amazing.
Like there was something very automatic with the front and rear wipers. Did I imagine that? I thought they were coming on by themselves unless...
So there's a setting for that, but they did talk about Volkswagen is the first to have rear wipers that, let's see if it'll do it. So if I have the wipers on, and if I put it in reverse, does it do it? Yep. So can you see that? So Volkswagen has that as an automatic system. So I didn't turn on the rear wiper, but it wiped the window because I have the front windshield wipers on. So that was what you heard them talking about. Yeah. And
you have been in park for a while, and the car knows, okay, if you're going to start going again, you need a clear rear view window.
Even though you have a rear view camera, so you don't necessarily need to look out the window, but you should. Do not count just on the camera.
Exactly. Still use your windows.
So the adaptive cruise system is one that I really like as a driver assist feature. Lane departure assist. Warning and assist. So it not only tells you when you're veering out of your lane, but the steering wheel will nudge you very gently back in your lane. Did you notice the automatic sign reader?
I did.
I like that one. I like that one too. So it's both on the driver's information screen here in front of the wheel, and then it's also on the infotainment system here. So if you're driving and the speed limit goes from 45 miles an hour down to 35 miles an hour, the sign will flash, and then you'll see the new speed limit, which is pretty great.
And it's great when you're on a road where, the speed limits do change, and you're going to be driving for 30 minutes, and you might have 3 different speed limits during that time. If you're in a road you're not as familiar with, you have it in 2 places to the car, so you can't miss it.